All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our first Moms for Liberty legislative update. Welcome to YouTube Live. We decided that this would be the best way to get weekly legislative updates to you and get you engaged in the bills that our legislator, because once a month, which is how often our meetings are held. By the time we meet once a month, most of the bills have already gone through, or things just come too fast. So we'll be doing this every Friday at 1 p.m., and we look forward to seeing you. And as you can see, you can definitely ask questions on this, and we are ready to answer your questions. And with that said, I am going to start off with the easiest bill that I want to discuss this week. I should say not easy, but most likely to go the way that we want it to go. That is Senate Bill 43 of 2023. And this is just a continuation of school access for the emergency response grant program. The program SAFER. This is a program that the state of Colorado has used for several years now. And this bill, it just extends the SAFER program, which gives access to schools to directly communicate with police departments on an ongoing basis, which is what we want. And this bill is sponsored by Van Winkle, Colker, Michael Sinjame, and Catlin. So it's got Republicans and Democrats on it. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't make it all the way through. It's just been introduced to the Education Committee for now. So this is an easy bill to just go ahead and email your legislators about, tell them that you support ongoing funds for the SAFER program. All right, so on to the next bill. We have a House Bill 231188. This is concerning authorizing a public school to offer individualized learning. It's sponsored in the House by Soper and Michael Sinjame, so a Republican and a Democrat. So it's starting off pretty strong. And then in the Senate, it's sponsored so far by Janice Rich, who is a Republican. And what this bill does is it authorizes public or charter schools to participate in individualized learning. So that is definitely something that we want to look more at and continue to encourage our legislators to pass this bill. Again, it's 231188. And when we're done going live, we'll have the bill numbers on this video, as well as the sponsors' names and email addresses, so that you can get that to them. And 1188 is the same as the bill I just mentioned, 2343. There is no timeline on this bill yet, so that's why I'm kind of updating you guys now, so that in the next couple days or weeks or whatever it is that it does come up for hearing, I can quickly tell you, okay, it's up. But in the meantime, just email the bill sponsors and let them know, you support this bill, and more choice is always a good thing. The next bill that I'm going to talk about, and if anyone chimes in with questions, I'll answer those. The next bill that we're going to move on to is House Bill 231109. This bill also has just been introduced to the House Education Committee. It has not been heard yet. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's school policies and student conduct. And the sponsor is Gonzalez Gutierrez, a Democrat. And this bill is a horrific bill. It's basically concerning measures to improve school policies that impact student conduct. This is very similar to the House bill or the Senate bill I will discuss in a few minutes. It's restorative justice, alternatives to expulsion, and the way that the bill is written, it encourages hearings when children have been found to have committed illegal acts or misbehaved in school otherwise. What this does is, like I said, it just promotes more restorative justice. And for those of you familiar with DPS, which now has a mass exodus of students because the schools are so riddled with crime and horrible things going on every single day. They're now closing DPS. Restorative justice doesn't work. It doesn't work in the criminal justice system. and it certainly doesn't work with children. When a child does something wrong in school, they should definitely feel the consequences. Furthermore, um, it basically pits the parents of kids who are subject to bullying, kids selling drugs. It pits them against the court system. It re-victimizes victims, which is a common theme in restorative justice. So again, this bill has not been heard yet. It was actually scheduled to be heard 2 days ago in committee. Then it was postponed. So keep this bill in mind, House Bill 231109, and then as soon as it comes up, we will let you guys know. And we might even do updates, not just on Fridays, so that we, make sure we're engaging everybody with the bills as they come up. So you could see me on a Tuesday morning, who knows? All right. So the next bill, which is the one of the worst bills, is Senate Bill 2329. And that is concerning addressing disproportionate discipline in public schools. And as of right now, take note because this one is scheduled to be heard March 6th at 1:30 in the Education Committee. So we definitely want to be there for that. If that date stands, we'll be sending out updates this weekend to make sure that you guys are engaged. You can testify in person, you can testify online. Every little bit helps. As Rep. Puglisi said in our last Moms for Liberty meeting, we're outnumbered. I think the House is 46-19. But the louder we are and the harder we make it for the Democrats to pass these horrible bills, we'll make them think. The more bills that they bring up, they might have to stay there till 2, 3 in the morning while we all testify on these bills, and they don't get to go home to their families. So we need to make them think twice about writing these horrific bills rather than just saying, well, they're in the majority, they're going to pass. No, we need to make some noise all the time on all of these bills. So anyways, okay, moving on to Senate Bill 2329. This is very similar to the bill I just mentioned in principle, but in concept, it's much, much, much lengthier. I encourage you to actually read this bill. It's just one of the more shocking bills that's written this year. And what it does is it also it encourages restorative justice, but it takes restorative justice a step further. And this bill assumes that when children are punished in the educational system, or when children are expelled for bad behavior, suspended, what have you, that it's not because they did something wrong. It's not because they didn't do their homework. It's not because they sold drugs on school property, whatever the case may be. This bill tells you that students are likely punished because of the color of their skin, or their socioeconomic background, or their sex, gender identification, what have you. And so the bill codifies into law the idea that the educational system is inherently racist. And that is a lie that's perpetrated by Democrats to further their agenda in the House and the Senate. So, if a student is to be punished for, or let's say suspended for selling drugs on school property, what this bill does is it asks the school officials to not only provide documentation to the state about what the child did, what the acts were that he committed, but also the color of his skin, how he identifies, how much money his family has. And that's just, I mean, that's not right. We have reached lunacy in terms of how we handle misbehavior in schools. But that's the whole Democrat principle here. It's that Marxist ideology of we will break you down by telling you that you're racist or that you hate children. And that's not the case. I mean, I was punished several times as a child and made me a stronger person. When people do things wrong, especially illegal things, there's a system in place and it works. So we ought not to let the Democrats destroy this system. I just met a lady a couple nights ago at my son's wrestling meet who told me that her son was being really bullied badly at a school in Palmer Lake, violently, in fact. And because that school has kind of started to buy into the woke curriculum or the woke agenda that kids are only punished out of racist ideologies. Her son was put in a position where he was every single day fighting for himself, going to the principal, going to the teacher. And because this child that was bullying him is a minority, justice was never served, and it hasn't been served to this day. This bill will take that concept of if your skin is this color, you don't deserve punishment, you deserve alternative treatments. This bill takes that a step further, and like I said, it codifies it into law. So we really need to stop this bill. All kids deserve to be treated equal, regardless of the color of their skin, their sex, how much money their family has. And when I say equal, I mean equal across the board. This bill is the opposite of that. So again, March 6th at 1:30 as of right now, Senate Bill 29 of 2023. I encourage you to look this one up and read it more thoroughly. So those are the four education bills I wanted to talk to you guys about this week. And with that said, we're hearing a lot of rambling about the red flag bill. So we've got a bill coming up, extreme risk protection order petitions. That is an expansion of the red flag bill. Now, you might say to yourself, why are you talking about this in a Moms for Liberty legislative update? The Second Amendment, guns have nothing to do with my child or schools or what have you. But let me just explain why this is relevant. So, the way that Senate Bill 170 of 2023 is written, it expands the people that could call a court and say, this person has mental problems, this person's mentally ill, this person is a concern to me, and so therefore I want guns removed from the home. Well, anybody who lived through 2020, 2021, Merrick Garland, targeting parents as domestic terrorists. Luckily, the truth has started to surface about a lot of that. But number one, just outside of the education system, Senate Bill 170 is an egregious violation of your constitutional rights. Never give up your guns. In fact, buy more guns. But that said, it's extremely relevant in our education system if this bill passes, which I believe that it will. But like I said, we need to make a ton of noise about this. Obviously, conservatives are being targeted in our school system. Even conservative children are being targeted. I'm very close with a couple high school students in Monument that are targeted every single day for reading the Bible, for going to church, for wearing a Trump hat, whatever may be the case. Well, now, instead of just a household member, a family member, or a law enforcement agency being able to petition to have someone's guns removed from the home, we've expanded the list. And so the list of people as written by this bill who could now petition to have your guns removed from your home include licensed medical care providers, licensed mental health care workers, district attorneys, and educators. So, we've all seen some of the extreme left educators in Colorado the past couple of years. Obviously, not every legislator is an extreme leftist progressive, but a lot of them are. So, this is one of the biggest slippery slope bills for education and children that I could think of in recent history. Because what's to say that my 16-year-old friend who loves Donald Trump and loves guns and loves all the things just goes into school wearing a Trump hat, upsets his teacher? Guess who she's going to call? We've seen this. We've seen this time and time again, where the left is trying to label lawful gun-owning citizens and conservative people who stick up for individual rights as domestic terrorists. And this bill, again, codifies into law that a teacher can petition to have guns removed from your home if they deem that your child is a threat. So that's what's going on this year at the legislature. On the one hand, we've got the left saying, wait, don't punish kids because of the color of their skin. You can't do it because of the color of their skin or the sex they identify as, but you can talk about removing guns from a family's home if a child is deemed a threat in any way, shape, or form. So this bill, like I said, I believe it's going to pass. When we have a date, we need to definitely make some noise, see if we can get some amendments going. I would be in favor of dropping the licensed mental health care providers, licensed educators, and licensed medical care providers from the list of people who can petition to have guns removed in the home. To me, we know that the red flag bill in Colorado isn't going anywhere, so this isn't going away, but we could at least try to control this as much as possible. Now, if this does pass, I will talk to you guys more about this in the coming weeks. We've got efforts all over the state to letters sent out to sheriffs, letters sent out to every board of county commissioners, simply asking them, demanding that they not comply with red flag expansion, age limits, all the various the slate of gun bills that the Democrats have introduced this year. So our best bet, if this passes, is to ensure that sheriffs are simply not abiding by this. So if you live in El Paso County and Joe Roybal, our sheriff, agrees to not comply with the extreme risk protection order bill, what Senate Bill 170 of 2023, then we have some protection there. And on behalf of Moms for Liberty, we can definitely make sure that Joe is on the same page and make sure other sheriffs are on the same page. But that's going to be our best bet here. So that if a teacher does call and say, I want guns removed from the Smith's home, I think little Billy is mentally ill, there's a stopgap. You can't just use this as an excuse to violate someone's Second Amendment rights. So again, I'll keep you guys updated with this red flag expansion. It's obviously not going to go through the education committee. It's going to go through Senate, House, Military, and Veterans Affairs. And when I have a date, I'll let you guys know. But in the meantime, I would encourage you to be reaching out to your local sheriffs and county commissioners and expressing your concern about this bill, because that's going to be your quickest way to protect your Second Amendment rights. We know that the legislator in Denver is, they're just passing whatever they want. They don't care at all, and they don't have to care. We're so outnumbered up there that a lot of what we're going to be able to do in the next couple years is local control over and over and over again. We saw that the mental health assessments bill passed a couple weeks ago, so we've been busy at work trying to make sure that we can get as many local school boards as possible to sign on and say they will not opt in to that for their school districts. So get in touch with Moms for Liberty. We're doing all we can at the legislature. It's a tough fight up there. And what we can't handle up there, we will handle locally. So we're on all of these bills in one way or another. It's just a matter of how we go about them, and whether we can get some amendments, whether we can get our sheriffs not to comply with them, get our school boards not to comply with them. Just because the legislator says you have to do something doesn't mean you have to do it. In the words of a mayoral candidate I heard the other day who just made me laugh, he was standing up on a stage and he said, government ain't my daddy and it ain't yours. And that's the best advice that I can give you with all of these horrible bills passing. Just remember, the government is not your dad. And if it takes going around to see how many people we can get to not comply with these bills, then that's just what we're going to have to do. So with that, thank you all for signing in today. We'll be back in a couple days or at the latest next Friday. And if you have any questions, I talk pretty fast and there's a lot of bills. So you can feel free to message me personally, message Moms for Liberty, whatever you want to do, and we will get your questions answered. And I see Samantha, do you have a question? Okay, no, she's just clapping, I think. All right. Thank you all. Like I said, I'm always around to answer questions about bills. That's kind of my thing. So text me, call me, get in contact with Moms for Liberty, join our group, and see what you can do to make a difference. Thanks so much, guys, and have a good weekend.